Engine's not looking too good. One of the rollers disintegrated. Valves made a couple love taps with the pistons. As far as the cylinder walls go, there were some pretty bad nicks. I had two choices. I could either scrap this car or fix it in the next couple of days. I decided to try and fix this engine. There's a good little nick right there. I hope it'll be fine. It's just this one that's all messed up. Completely destroyed. I got this cylinder head. I got this one off a 2009 Chevy Traverse. Same engine as we have here, so this one should work well. So we're gonna try and get this thing all cleaned up and put back together pretty soon. Finally got the oil pan out. That was absolutely grueling though. Finally we can access the bottom. We can get to the connecting rods, bang out the pistons. Jeez. The weather leaves much to be desired, but we gotta get this done. Here's everything we got going on. We took these pistons out last night. This is the piston that had the major damage. So you can see major damage. It's destroyed. We got chunks missing everywhere. We got a hole in the top. See it from the bottom. That was some serious damage. You can see where the valves were hitting as well. You got some divots in there. It's absolutely destroyed. The engine was really hard to turn over. I had to really crank on it with the breaker bar to get it turning. I'm surprised the starter motor was able to actually turn the engine anyway. What happened is when this piston broke, it crushed the piston rings and kind of forced them in the outward position. They weren't able to compress. That's why it was so hard to turn. It was just pressed up against the bore of the cylinder. You know, there is some damage on the cylinder walls, but hopefully we'll be okay. As far as the bottom end, rod bearings are a little scored. The rod bearing for this one is the worst one. This rod bearing fell out when I took the connecting rod out, so this one, if it wasn't spinning in there already, it was about to. As you can see, it's not really in the best shape. Let's look at the cylinder. Again, as you can see, there's some marks. I mean, of course, there's a little bit of vertical scoring, but like very up here at the top, you can see where my finger is. We got some dings in there. The stroke of the piston, the top of the piston doesn't come all the way to the top right here. I think we should be okay. I'm not worried about breaking ring lands or anything. We'll see how good it gets with the cylinder hone. The rest of the cylinders, these are fine. Again, these two cylinders only had some taps with the valves. They didn't destroy the piston or anything. There was no damage besides that. Speaking of which, it did cross my mind briefly to just reuse these pistons. As you can see, there's not significant damage. However, I already got those 3 pistons used from the junkyard, so I just want to replace those pistons, make sure everything with the compression is as it was factory. I don't want to have any issues with the engine balance or the PCM or anything like that. Here are the junkyard pistons I got from that 2009 Chevy Traverse. Besides the fact they're obviously covered in coal, they're going to clean up nice. That's what I'm about to do right now. Piston rings all look good. Let me just get one of these out. The rod bearings look a lot better than the ones that came out of this vehicle. We're going to clean off this piston and connecting rod and pop them in later. So first we're going to hone out these cylinders, see how good we can get these bores looking. This one especially. That will be all for the hone-in. The cylinders look significantly better than before. This cylinder that had all the damage, it looks far, far better than before. That big scratch that went all the way down, it's almost gone. I probably bored the cylinder 3 over because I was honing it for so long, but that's fine. This big divot, I want to say it's about 2 millimeters deep, maybe. The piston rings don't get this high, so I don't think it should mess with the compression or have issues with a potential ring land failure. That's just my opinion. Only one way to find out though. We got to put this engine back together and drive it. So all these cylinders are nice and deglazed. So now we're going to clean up those replacement pistons and pop them in. I didn't film at all yesterday, and it kills me to have to do that, but I had no time, and also everything we were doing was underneath the car, so there was no way to get good shots. So just to update y'all, we have the whole underneath back together. First thing we did yesterday was to clean out the old pan, removed about a pound of gunk from in there, cleaned off the mating surfaces, reinstalled it to the engine block with some RTV silicone, reinstalled the front differential, reinstalled the front drive shaft, reinstalled both axles, reinstalled the subframe. That was the hardest part. Got everything up there eventually though. Bolted up everything that connects to the subframe. Stuff like this, you know, things like the wires and random stuff like that, the ABS. Reinstalled reconnected the steering rack, reconnected the steering shaft, then the suspension stuff, reconnected the control arms. As you can see, I didn't get them back in the original position, so the alignment's gonna be off, but that's fine, it's whatever. And also, when you bolt in control arms, you're supposed to do it when the car's on the ground. You need to jack up the end of the control arm so it's like there's a load on it, because if you don't do that, it usually gonna wear out prematurely. Anyway, that was everything we did yesterday. We also cleaned off the tops of all the pistons, the ones that we didn't do. I also want to show you how easy this engine turns over. Y'all remember how hard this engine was to turn over due to this piston being stuck in the bore, but now easy, easy, easy. I can even do it with one finger. See that? Yeah. I also want to show you what's going on with this cylinder. You can see where we have the remaining damage. There's that little dimple from the valve. However, this is above the piston ring, so I don't think it should be an issue. The piston goes up and down nice and easily. So yeah, you see how the piston goes up nice and easily. It's not like anything's getting caught right there. So hopefully it's all good to go.